So about 4 years ago, my wife Grace and I, we decided to make the move across country from a big city in the Pacific Northwest to a small town here in Michigan for a better life. Now, I remember being so scared, not necessarily about the move, but also quitting a stable job. You see, I was in the medical field and more in the corporate area side of things, and Grace was also in the medical field, but more boots on the ground. And we also decided to sell everything that we had and fit what we could into our small Subaru that we had at the time. And just looking back 4 years ago, yes, even though it was scary, it was one of the best decisions that we could have made. And we were able to buy a small house and live mortgage free, able to retire my wife from the workforce, able to retire myself, able to semi retire her parents, and really just have more time to slow things down, to live simply. And you're thinking, okay, great, Jeremy, how's that possible for me? Like, okay, that sounds nice. But I want to address that. Yes, it is still possible, even though the cost of living is rising, inflation is rising. I want to talk about why I moved, what I've learned, and how this can be possible also for you to live a better life. So let's talk about it. One of the beliefs that I held on to before moving was I thought that leaving the city would mean giving up on career growth or opportunity. But I came to realize that moving actually gave me the freedom to create more opportunities that align with my faith and my values. You see, for a lot of us, I feel like we say we want career growth because we want to actually just make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that because, especially if you live in a high cost of living area, you need to make more money for a better life. You need to. And so you have to hustle. And then once you get to that next stage in your career, you realize that there's there's more management, there's more responsibilities, and you actually are more stressed and you have less time. And so it kind of defeats the purpose, right? And that's when we get stuck in this rat race, what they call it. And so I found that moving to a small town, I actually had the space and the freedom to focus on what I wanted. Like I got a fresh start. I got a restart because I actually had the time to focus on, oh, maybe I want to learn that. Maybe I don't want to learn real estate. Maybe I want to learn YouTube. Maybe I want to learn how to paint, how to do this. Like actually develop skills that I want to learn without the pressure of having to pay for bills while also, maintaining a family and all that. It's really hard when 8 hours and your best hours are spent towards other things. And yes, there's less big business in small towns, and that means there's going to be less pay too. But it's okay when the housing is affordable. And that leads me to my next belief that I had before moving was that affordable housing is just not possible. It is possible. I'm living it. Like I mean, my first house was around 50,000, then 60,000, 100,000. Like all the houses that I've bought so far being out here in the past 4 years, they've all been under 200,000. And there's still houses out here for under 200,000. Like it's still possible, not just this city, but other cities in the Midwest. And you just see in the news that the median price is now 375 or 400. And like where are they getting that information? Like what is that average of what is just the major cities? Or, I feel like they're not even including some of these small town areas. And so we see that and we're like, no, it's not possible. It's not possible to move. It's expensive everywhere. And that's just not true. And you're probably thinking like, well, you probably live when there's nothing, right? You live in a rural area. And that's another belief that I had was like, it's just going to be boring out there. No, it's not boring. We still got Costco. We got Target. We got Starbucks. We got everything that we loved in the Pacific Northwest, besides maybe the mountains and, some unique restaurants. But Michigan has its own unique restaurants. I tell you, not as much. I mean, we could definitely use some good Mexican food out here, that's for sure. But it has a lot of the things that we're already used to. And we're also in a different stage of life. When you have kids, your life slows down and you want a safe space for your kids. And not just that, like we don't go out. We don't go out as much. We just don't go out as much when you have kids. And now that we have another one on the way, Yeah, we're definitely no more than 2 hour radius from where we're at. We're gonna go maybe to the beach, go up north where there is some hills and mountains, but we're not gonna we don't really see ourselves traveling much with kids. We'll see what things if things change, but so far right now, we're cool. We want to do some camping and things like that with the kids. But boring is boring can be good. Like, when have you ever been bored if you think about it? Like, when have you ever been bored? Right? And a lot of the boredom that time we use it for maybe watching Netflix and all the other stuff, but like when did we actually just like sat there and had like nothing to do? Like I feel like if we're doing life right, at least for me, like I didn't ever feel like I was bored. I always felt like I had to hustle and bustle living in the city in order to make it. There was always something I had to do. And there's even stuff that I didn't even want to do, but I was doing. I don't Sometimes boredom is really good, but especially in this stage of my life, I don't feel bored, even though I'm not going out to bars and things like that. Grace and I, we don't drink. There's stuff like that out here, definitely, but you don't have to live in a rural area. You could just choose a small town that has the things that you want. I like it because there's no traffic. There's no traffic out here in Michigan, or at least in the middle of Michigan. So I think that's another belief that has been broken for me, is that it's too boring. Michigan's too boring. It really just depends on what you want, right? What stage you're in. But I want to do my own thing, right? I want to have financial freedom. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want us all to be together and work on what we want to work on, have the time to give, and have the time to just enjoy life with each other. Life is short. Life is short. And that's something I'm realizing as I'm having more kids. I'm 32 now. Life is really short. I think another belief I had before moving was like, I'm never going to see my family again. This is going to be really hard. And I just you really got to put in perspective. Like, how many times do you actually see your family now? You know what I mean? With work, like how often do you actually give them the best hours of your day? Right? Is it maybe Saturday? And if it is a Saturday, how often are you spending time with them? So once a month, twice a month, every other month, once a year? And moving out here, because our cost of living was lower, and that we were able to buy a smaller house and have less bills and things like that, we actually had the time to go visit them. You know what I mean? We actually had the time and the extra money to spend on traveling, to go there and actually just focus on the family. I saw my family every year since coming out here. I think if you do it right, if you make the move right to actually have more financial margin, you can actually do the things that you've always wanted to do, right? We say that once we have money, then I can go spend time with my family, or I can maybe do the thing that I wanted to do. Maybe I can start the business I always wanted to start. And I feel like moving has actually allowed me to show up better in those areas with my family, with my church community. I've had to make new friends out here, that's for sure. Um, that's a whole other topic for another video. But as this stage of my life, family is the most important. As we have kids, learning how to be a father in those areas. If you say that you value this area of your life, right? And the reason why we feel guilty or we feel depressed is because our actions are going another direction. That's why we feel the way we do. That's why we feel stuck. That's why we feel stuck. Making the move allowed me to start living according to my values, to serve Christ, to serve my wife, my family, and my community better. So if you're feeling stuck, I really recommend getting your financial house in order. Start there and start analyzing where your money is going. I say I value this. So why am I spending money in this area? It's hard to make a big decision or big change when you are just weighed down by debt or just unclear goals of where you're headed. And now if you're sitting there thinking like you want to make a change this year, but maybe you just need a little accountability or a little bit of help, I did create a financial reset challenge. It's not a course or anything like that, and it's completely free, but it's just like an email of action steps that you need to take in order to get things done, get things moving, small actions that you need to take to get financial clarity and start just getting yourself unstuck and get moving in the right direction. So the link is down below. I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.